Hello friends, very recently the government has come out with a circular on guidelines with regard to filing of transitional credit TRAN 1 and TRAN 2. In the first year of GST, a lot of persons had to take transitional credit which they could not do it because of technical glitches on the portal, or the fact that they missed it out, or a number of persons had to apply to the High Court, and some of them also raised issues before the IT redressal committee for technical glitches. Now the Supreme Court took all of this into account and they passed a verdict in case of Filco Trade Centre Pvt Limited, wherein they said that since a number of persons could not take transitional credit for various reasons, now the government is required to once again allow the transitional credit. So they stated that GSTN is required to now once again open the common portal for filing of TRAN 1 and TRAN 2. Earlier it was stated to be starting from 1st of September. Now they have allowed a time period for 4 weeks more. So it would be from 1st of October. It would be open for 2 months, 1st October to 30th November. So anyone who had filed a writ petition, or who had applied to the redressal committee, or a person who has not done any of this, a person who could not do any of this for any reason, in all these cases they are now allowed to file the transitional credit forms online once again. If they have already filed it and there was any scope of revision required, they can revise that also, right? Now officers have been given the time of 90 days to verify whether the form is correct or not, whatever has been filed, whether it is correct or not. Only once the officer verifies it, thereafter only it will reflect to the transitional electronic credit ledger. Now, what are the guidelines which have been issued through Circular 180 dated 9th of September? It has been stated that when TRAN credit is rejected, one needs to file an appeal. So first of all, this revision or filing of TRAN 1 or TRAN 2 is not open for those persons whose transitional credit had been rejected during the process of adjudication for any reason, or where the appeal is pending for any matter with regard to transitional credit. For those persons, those matters would still be going through the regular process of adjudication and appeal. Those persons cannot once again revise TRAN 1 or TRAN 2, right? Taxpayers will now have the option to download the old TRAN 1 or TRAN 2 from the portal, so that they can compare with what is their actual versus what should have been there, right? Also, along with the transitional credit form which would be filed, one needs to also give a declaration before the department. That declaration will contain the fate of transitional credit and the status of transitional credit, which is currently there for the assessee. Whether how much credit he has taken, whether any adjudication has happened for that, whether any appeal is pending against it, if any order has been passed, any credit which has been ineligible as reversed. So all of this is required to be declared along with the revised form, so that all the proceedings with regard to transitional forms is available before the jurisdictional officer before he conducts the verification, right? Also, it has been provided that C forms and F forms and H forms, all these, if they have been issued after 27th of December 2017, for this the transitional credit cannot be taken. A lot of persons have received their C forms after December 17. Now those persons did not earlier have the option to furnish it in TRAN 1 or TRAN 2, thereby even now while revising it or filing it, they will not have the option of taking credit on these forms which are after December 17. Also, TRAN 2 is had to be filed on a monthly basis for 6 months. So from July 17 to December 17, the TRAN 2 forms had to be filed. What is TRAN 2 forms? Just a recapitulation, that if I am a trader, I am buying from a person who is also a trader, let's say, and that person does not, and I don't have the excise invoice with me. So in that case, the government allowed me some ad hoc credit. In case of 12% or lower, 40% of 12% GST was allowed as TRAN 2 credit. Where the rate was 18% or higher, it was uh, where the rate of GST was 12%, the credit allowed was 60%. Where the rate of GST was 18%, in that case 40% transitional credit had been allowed, right? So in all these cases, the TRAN 2 form had to be filed for 6 months based on the sales made from July 17 to December 17. Now, instead of filing and revising TRAN 2 for each of these periods from July to December, one can simply select the last period, let's say December 17, and thereafter claim the entire credit in December 17, right? Also, they can submit a self-certified TRAN 2 and TRAN 1. So whatever transitional credit is there, they need to submit a self-certified transitional credit form along with that annexure before the jurisdictional officer within 7 days of filing. So whatever has been filed, that needs to be given physically to the officer within 7 days. Thereafter, the officer can ask for relevant documents, records, returns, as the case may be, for verification of that credit. And thereafter, the officer needs to pass an order. He cannot simply sit on the form. He has to pass an order after adequate opportunity of being heard. So he has to give a personal hearing. He has to allow the relevant person to explain the transitional credit as to why it has changed. Thereafter only they can pass an order, right? So further, the government has said that this is the last opportunity for making any kind of changes in transitional credit. So please be very careful in trying to submit the form, file the form. Please verify the details twice or thrice before you submit the form, so that, because tomorrow this kind of opportunity may not come once again, right? So please be very careful with this. I would like to once again thanks everyone for giving me a very patient hearing. And if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.